Toby from Heavyweight MMA here today with MMA fighter Colby Thicknesse, talking about a big fight that's coming up, Dan Hooker versus Islam Makhachev. What do you think is going to happen, bro?
Well, that's an alarm. That wasn't good timing. But it is going to be, my bad, fuck. It was for the podcast. But I think Dan is going to surprise a lot of people, honestly. Like, I think so my mate showed me the odds on Sportsbet, and back home is like a 4-1 underdog, which I don't think people sort of realize that. I think Dan being the underdog is fine, but I think the way people count him out, they're putting Islam like such a pedestal. I think people come in for a rude surprise. Like, Dan's got good hips, he's got good straight knees up the center line when people duck the heads. He's got good guillotines. Like, he's a hard stylistic matchup for Islam, I think.
Man, I just saw a funny cartoon today with Dan's head on it. Was someone carrying their balls in a wheelbarrow. It was like his balls are so big that he needs a wheelbarrow to carry him around. And I think that's where it sort of starts, right? He's such a hard man. Like he's just a pure fighter, right? Like he's never refused a fight. He'll fight anyone. Like he said, it took him 5 seconds to say yes to Makachev. He said it'll take him 1 second if they asked him if he wanted to fight Khabib. He doesn't care, man. He's been grappling forever. It's not like he'd never grappled before. He grapples in the gym probably every day. And then people are thinking that he can't grapple. Of course he can grapple, man. He's going to have a chance. He's been professionally fighting for so many years. I think even 12 years in the UFC alone, or no, 12 years, I think, pro. And that's like a long time, man. He's been training grappling before that. So it's not like he's a beginner.
Yeah, no, that's what I don't understand with some people. Like, obviously, we know Islam is good. He's got that higher level of wrestling pedigree that a lot of the Dagestani fighters have. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be sort of any different to things that Dan are used to. It's not like Dan's a fish out of water. It's not like he hasn't wrestled with elite guys. It's not like he's been squared off against. He's fought title contenders. He's almost beat the guy who's fighting for a belt now. Like, he's seen everything. It's not like you're going to come in there and surprise a guy like Dan Hooker.
That's it, man. And it's interesting to see, like, obviously, like Connor used to say, this guy just dies for the legs, man. And he does seem like, to me, when you compare him to these high level strikers, he does seem lacking in that department, right? Like his only strikes are really just to set up the takedown. I like the old sort of style of Khabib almost. Like, he doesn't really look like he's working to take the striking as much as, these other guys. He's not going to do as well as the other guys, but obviously when he does get that takedown, he's a killer, right?
Yeah, exactly right. Like, we all know if Islam grabs you, you're probably going to hit the deck and you're probably not going to get up for the rest of the round. And that's the problem with this fight being a 3-round fight, which is the problem where Dan needs to be on. He needs to be stopping every single takedown. If Islam gets that takedown in that first 2 minutes, there's a high chance that Dan isn't going to be getting up for the next 3 or 4 minutes he spends on his back. And over a 3-round fight, that can be costly. Realistically, he only needs to, in a theory, secure the 1 takedown per round to secure the fight. So Dan has to be on top of his game there. But like I said, Dan's going to make it a lot harder than people think. He's long, he's lanky for the division. He's great with his range. It's not like he's going to be in that range where Islam's going to be able to shoot comfortably. Dan's going to stay long. He's going to stay behind his hands and his kicks. He's going to make, as soon as Islam comes into this space here, that's what he's going to throw. He's not going to let him creep in and get to that takedown range. He's going to keep him at that distance. And when he does come in, I guarantee he's going to be throwing nice, low, hard calf kicks, knees up in the center, take his legs out, big uppercuts and stuff like that. And he's going to really sort of diversify his strikes. And I think that's going to confuse Islam, as he shouldn't. Islam is real used to sort of flicking up a head kick or something. People normally shell up because they're worried and then they get taken down. Whereas Dan's a guy, he can shell, but he can fire off counter straight away. So I think that's going to be sort of a good strategy for him to use.
Yeah, man. Did you watch the fight against Drew Dober? It was pretty much a domination, right? Yeah. Pretty much dominated him, right? Like, every round got the takedown, just mauled him. But one thing you take from that, like, you look at Drew Dober's face at the end of it and end of each round, he doesn't look that smashed up. Like, sure, he got dominated, sure, he ended up getting submitted. But the majority of the fight, it was like fighting for positions and stuff more than really establishing a strong ground and pound and really punishing him. And I wonder, I'm interested to see if Dan's on the bottom, if he can, first of all, withstand the submission attempts. And secondly, can he do any striking from the bottom? Because we've seen him use elbows in the grapple, etc. I just wonder if he can do any damage, because Islam doesn't look like he's a really scary ground and pound guy,
Yeah, a lot of the guys you see these days from even against the fence is a perfect example. If Islam sticks his head in the wrong position, he's definitely going to wear a knee or an elbow there. And Dan's lethal with him. And now if you take that to the jiu-jitsu side or the grappling side, when Dan's on his back, I'm sure from his guard, he will be able to find them elbow shots, the sort of Tony Ferguson, where the guys who are burying the head with that body lock, it's very easy for them to push the head across and get a nice slice in elbow. Doing stuff like that's going to relieve a bit of pressure because the guy on top he can't stay there comfortable. He's going to have to work, and that can give Dan more opportunities to come up. So if you're an active guy off your back, which I'm assuming Dan will be, he's going to be very active. He's going to be looking to force scrambles, force stand ups. If he's going to hold down, he's going to sort of try and use the elbow strikes and that to get up as well. I think that's going to play in his favor.
Yeah, man. I kind of picture Dan using his range, like you said, and just trying to keep on the outside, which he's done successfully in heaps of his fights. So it'll be a very interesting game to see him play. He mentioned about like how one way to deal with grapplers is like let them strike a bit, let them land a few shots so they start to get confident in the stand up, and then take him out. So it'll be interesting to see if you can lull him into a false sense of security with the stand up, and challenge himself to do a stand up fight with Dan Hooker. That'd be pretty cool.
I think Islam seems like the type of guy who, if he lands a few shots, he's going to be comfortable standing on his feet. But I think as soon as Dan lands one big one, he's going to be like, oh, no, I can't keep this on here. Like, then I'm going to have to get him to the ground, get him to a fence. We're going to have to start grinding him out that way. But then again, we all know Islam is good. Even though his striking isn't as elite as Dan, he does use it very well to set up his takedowns, his level changes, and he does have power there as well.
Yeah, man, and he's only had one loss in his record and 20 wins. It's Hangman's obviously had a few more losses. I think he's had 10 losses, quite a bit more. But he's fought a higher caliber, I would say, of fighters. Like when you look at the record in the UFC, you would say like guys like Chandler, Poirier, Barboza, Felder, all these guys like Aloy Quinta, Gilbert Burns, Jim Miller. They're high level guys, right? And you look at Makachev's record, it doesn't seem quite as high. So I think, can he integrate some of these game plans that he's learned through experience? He's had like 31 fights versus Makachev's 21 fights. So it's a decent amount, 50% more than the Makachev's fight. So that little experience edge, can he use that? Can he use that to his advantage? I'm not sure.
I think he definitely can. Will be by far Islam's biggest test. Have we seen before? Like obviously, Drew Dober was good. The last guy Islam fought was good too. But I think getting guys who've actually been in there with some of the best, they've been in against title contenders, they've been in against veterans of the sport. Dan has that experience. So it's going to be a challenging matchup for Islam, even just in that regard. He's not going to be, I don't think he's going to crumble Dan as easy as he has crumbled other people. A lot of guys, when they hear the name Islam Makachev or someone like that, you can tell the UFC guys, they don't really want to fight these sort of guys. The Dan's the type of guys like, fuck it, I'll fight anyone. And that's the sort of attitude you have to have when you fight these people. You can't be sort of intimidated by like, oh, the Khabib 2.0 talk and everything like that. Whereas you're going in there just to fight another bloke. And I'm sure Dan's going to bring that mentality, and that's what makes him dangerous.
Yeah, man. So we're not biased at all. I can just feel that we're not biased in the slightest. And everyone's going to be really happy with our comments, especially if we get some of the Russians on here. They're not going to appreciate our opinions too much.
I'm going to get people calling me out.
Exactly. Anyway, so let's just say, so how's Dan going to win, Colby?
I don't know. As much, I think I see Dan having, I was actually talking to a friend before. The way I explained it was Dan has more paths to victory that I can see, but they're not as a successful route as I see Islam's on his path to victory. I have more, obviously, as much as the same about Dan and that, I do believe that Islam does have that technical ability and everything, where his wrestling is such a high pedigree, where he can nullify all of these little things that Dan has. But Dan being an Anzac, you got to support the boys. So I'm going fucking Dan Hooker by a knee straight up the middle. Go sleep Islam. You heard it first.
I was worried you're gonna trade on our own again, but this time you've stuck up for the
stuck with the boys.
And I'm like, obviously, like you said, it's a scary fight for all of us to watch. I reckon I'm going to be on edge watching it because these takedowns can nullify everything. I'm really hoping that Dan Hooker stays on the outside, peppers the legs, slows him down, and has enough skills to evade the grapple too much. And if he does get in the grapple, you don't nullify and use some elbows, etc. in the grapple like he's done before. So I'm hoping Dan Hangman by points, man. I think if he can stay on the outside, which he definitely has the skills and experience to do it, and avoid the trips, etc. If they do get into any sort of stand-up grappling situation, then let's go. Let's beat him up. Take him out of there, Dan.
Let's get it, Dan. I have faith in him, man. I have faith. He shouldn't be a 4-1 underdog. That's ridiculous. Chuck your money on him, fellas.
It is actually ridiculous. Like, you'd accept something like 2.5 to 1 or something like that. Like, kind of makes sense. Okay, pretty dominant guy in Makachev. Give him a little bit ahead, but not that far ahead. Is it
not
the fact that could it be all the Russian guys all throwing down dollars on him? I'm not really sure.
It could be, but it could just be the Australian casual audience where they said Dakistani last name and they chuck money at it sort of thing. So that could also be a part of it.
Well, I would have thought after seeing his performance the other day, people would be giving him a fair shot, at it.
Yeah, so would I, but it's just the guys who control the market. They see that sort of last name and everything, and they see 20-1 and they think, oh, this guy's an unstoppable sort of thing.
Yeah. Cool, bro. All right. Thanks for your opinion, bro. And I'll catch you next time.
Legend. Thanks for having me.